You motherfuckers keep talking about don't make this about race. But if the roles were reversed and it was 3 black boys, 1 white boy, that white boy didn't make it home, them 3 black boys did, them motherfuckers would have been prime suspect number 1. And on top of that, lawyer up, make their accounts private, and not cooperate with the police, y'all want them motherfuckers underneath the jail cell. But since some people can't understand because it's coming from us, maybe you'll understand it if it's coming from one of your people.
That young black man who got on a boat with what he thought were 3 white friends and didn't return home, that's us. That's us pretending to be a safe space. And then when it's just convenient, that person doesn't matter to us. We don't care that we didn't come home with them. We don't know where they were. That's why, okay? That's why. And until you can see that.
Just imagine if he decided not to go out on that boat to go celebrate the 4th of July. He would still be alive. Now, I'm not going to say they did it, but they are prime suspect number 1 because they was the last people to see him. They left with him, but didn't return with them. Count me out.
In light of this Nolan and Xavier story, I really want to tell a story. This is for black parents or parents of color who have children in all white spaces. I'm from Michigan, right? And there's this beach everybody go to. It's called Grand Haven. I probably was 17. There's this thing that Peach people do, right? Racial baiting, racial peer pressure. They will try to peer pressure your children into doing something that is dangerous to them or could potentially harm them. And it will be for their enjoyment. So there's these 3 or 4 black boys. I can't remember the exact number. And then there's these 2 peach girl, peach boy, right? They jumping off the pier, right? These people have boats. These people have been swimming all their lives. Like, it's nothing for them. They've done this plenty of times, I promise you. Me and my best friend, we're just sitting over the pier and we see the black boys, right? And they start talking to them. They're just having a normal conversation, and then all of a sudden they're telling them, hey, jump in, jump in. We instantly can tell this is a problem. The black boys are making statements clearly, insinuating that they can't swim. Nah, bro, I ain't jumping in there. That's crazy. How deep is the water? Da, 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 da. This peach girl and peach boy are saying anything to get them to listen. They're calling them scary and saying, oh, y'all are scared. It is not that deep. Oh, this is easy. And of course it's easy for them, and they know it's not easy for these boys. They know there's a potential that something very bad could happen, but they don't care because they want to see if they're going to jump in. At one point, the peach girl says, I will show you my breasts if you jump in. Me and my friend, we turned to them. We said, y'all better not jump in. Y'all better not jump in. Do they listen? Of course not, because the little girl is shaking her yitties. 2 boys jump in. Do you think they did anything when these boys was fighting for their life? Do you think? They mamas don't even know. They could have almost lost their child that day. Peach girl, peach boy was just cracking up, laughing. Mind you, they can swim. Me and my best friend, we started looking for a little buoy or something that we could throw out there. Like, we were scared. Anyways, they end up catching hold of the little dock or whatever, and they had to learn a harsh lesson. That's that. But the whole point of the story is just to tell you that things like that happen all the time with them. They even do it to each other. I'm telling you this not to say that it's all white people, not to say that they're all bad, but I just want you to know that you need to protect your children. You need to protect them because they do not understand. And if you didn't grow up with a mama like mine, they will succumb to that type of peer pressure. You have to stop letting y'all children live in a state of delusion. You have to let them know the real.
Good day, guys. It's Ozzy. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be talking about the Nolan Xavier Wells case. Nolan is an 18-year-old boy who has white friends and decided to go on a 4th of July vacation on an island with his friends. So it is not clear what exactly happened to Nolan Wells, but his body has now been found like a few days later from when he disappeared. So now what's sparking outrage from mostly blacks and some other white people online is that the friends he went on this trip with were predominantly white friends. Like, most of the picture that surfaced online were of him and 3 white guys And then all the black reactions are like, why, as a black man, associating with or having predominantly white friends is not a sign of success. Like, that is a no-no, because you all went out and then you're the only one that's missing. So like, it's creating a lot of spark online. And also, the white people are they're debunking this fact. They're saying, why would a child go missing and then the only thing you're thinking about is, oh, racism, oh, he's with whites, that's why he got missing, and all of that. So I want you to watch the video and then we are going to talk about this later on.
Now, I plan to come on here and tell y'all about just how black of a weekend I had here at Essence Fest, but I can't do that because yet again, the black community is hit with another tragedy that doesn't make sense. This is 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells, who went missing at Horn Island in Mississippi while celebrating the 4th of July weekend with these three friends. Now, a body was found on Monday, but the identity of the body has not been confirmed. But let me tell you this. We do not want to hear that this is another case of a self-unaliving. Not in Mississippi and not on the 4th of July weekend. We're not buying that. Now, authorities are saying that the last time he was seen was with a girl, but there's no further detail on what the girl looked like or the girl's identity. Now, I've also searched high and low to see where the statements are from the three friends he was with, and I've not been able to find anything from them. That to me is concerning and questionable because if you went on a trip with three friends for the 4th of July weekend, if it were my friend, I would be asking questions, speaking out, searching, doing all the things, and I've not heard anything of that sort from those three friends. Now, his mother says that obviously her and her husband have been worried sick and they've not been feeling good and they just want their son to come home and walk through the door. And they're asking for any information or any help that anyone can provide. But I'm praying for this family because this is getting out of control. And again, we don't want to hear that it was a self-unaliving. We're tired of that narrative.
But they didn't just murder him. They physically and emotionally tortured him.
The body of 18-year-old black teenager Nolan Xavier Wells has been found. He went missing on July 4th while traveling by boat with three white friends to Horn Island, Mississippi, approximately 10 miles from the Gulf Coast. On July 6th, a park administrator discovered him in the water near the northwest end of the island. His phone was not on his person, but in his father's hand. Since his disappearance, search teams, including the Kazakh Navy, have conducted a comprehensive search of both land and sea areas. The authorities have not yet specified how many people were on the boat or who reported the disappearance, but online videos show that a dispute may have occurred before Wells was abandoned by his friends, who then left on another boat without him. It is also reported that Wells was originally supposed to meet a girl. His white friends had quickly hired lawyers, one of whom was the child of a judge. This immediate legal protection raised questions. Why did the phone return but he did not? Why did they immediately receive legal protection? The family and activists were extremely angry, drawing comparisons between this case and other instances where the deaths of black victims were hastily dismissed as accidents. The authorities are awaiting DNA confirmation, although the family has stated they have identified the remains. What are your thoughts on this?
I truly feel like people are looking at the situation wrongly about 18-year-old Nolan Wells that was found down there unalived on Horn Island. They found him unalived today. As y'all know, they were searching for 18-year-old Nolan Wells for the last about day and a half, 2 days. They was looking for 18-year-old Nolan Wells. I guess he had went missing on Saturday around 3 p.m. was the last time that somebody had saw 18-year-old Nolan Wells alive. But I don't feel like that was accurate and that's correct either. I also want to say that I do not feel like it was 18-year-old Nolan Wells' friends that had anything to do with 18-year-old Nolan Wells. And I don't feel like they were the last ones to see 18-year-old Nolan Wells alive. And I'm going to break down exactly why I feel that way. Not only that, I truly feel like somebody had put 18-year-old Nolan Wells' body out there for them to be able to find this morning, as they had all of those agencies and everybody looking for 18-year-old Nolan Wells, and they were not able to find 18-year-old Nolan Wells. So I feel like somebody put that body back. But I'm going to tell y'all who they need to look at in order to find out exactly what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells, and it wasn't those friends, I don't feel. Now, I have been close in contact with somebody that's close to the situation of 18-year-old Nolan Wells that had reached out to me and asked me to help put this story out and to help me to think about this story to try to find out exactly what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells out there at Horn Island. They let me know that allegedly it's been said that 18-year-old Nolan Wells had bruises on his body. So they say allegedly Jackson County Chancellor Kirk, Judge Ashley Cole, and stepmother to Warren Hudson, the young man who is alleged to have been with Nolan Wells on Horn Island before he was found deceased on July 6th, has deactivated all of her social media accounts. Now, I don't feel like that even matters. And the reason why I say that is because, of course, somebody's going to deactivate their channel when they feel like people are going to flood their channels and say a whole bunch of things and such like that, and they really don't want to have to deal with the stress of it. So I understand that. And I don't feel like that necessarily tells us anything simply because she deactivated her page. But what I strongly feel like tells us a lot about this situation, and the most important details that was probably put out about this situation that a lot of people have been overlooking and or do not know about is, it was said that the mom of Katie had put this post out, and I feel like this post tells us an absolute lot if we break it down. Now, it's very important for people to know that it is being said that Katie's mom is a professor. So therefore, I find it very strange that she would start this out with just saying Katie had a conversation and just leaving that wide open without even finishing a thought. Who had a conversation with Katie? What was the conversation about? All she said was Katie had a conversation. And then she goes on to say and assume that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Then she says Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. This is another detail that I find weird right here, is that she would separate these two next thoughts. The thought that I just read and this next thought I'm about to read to y'all. The next thought, she says, Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. Instead of said on a different boat with different people, why didn't you just say because Katie made it home because she was on a boat with my brother and sister-in-law when they went and got her? I know to other people's minds it may not matter, but it's very important because it said that she's a professor. Also, went and got her is very important. Why did they need to go and get her? Wouldn't Katie already have had a ride and everything already orchestrated and everything? Why would they need to go and get her? Implying that they went and got her means that they had to go to where she was at to go get her. And why? Did she not have a rendezvous point with somebody that she was already out there on the island with? Did she not have somebody else to go meet up with? And why didn't she just go back to the rendezvous point? Why is it so important that the brother and sister-in-law went and got her? Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Let me read that again. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. What does that say? Hold on, we're going to pause right here and break this down right here because that's very important. That implies that Katie knows that those friends was trying to get Nolan on the boat, which says to me that Katie knows that those boys separated from Nolan when Nolan was alive, because in order to imply that those friends was telling Nolan to get on the boat, Nolan could not have been unalived at that time, because you cannot tell somebody that's unalive to get on the boat and or try to convince them to get on the boat. That statement right there says to me that those boys have a solid alibi, that Katie already knew that those boys had separated from Nolan. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Now think about it. If you're telling somebody to get on the boat and they would not get on the boat, and you're constantly trying to talk them into getting on the boat and they would not get on the boat, you're going to eventually do what? You're going to eventually leave. She said that the brother and sister-in-law went and got Katie. They had to go get her. Why did they have to go get her, and where did they have to go get her from? And how did they know that Katie needed somebody to come get them? Why would Katie have to hit somebody up to come get them? What time was it when Katie had to reach out to somebody to come get her? Because in order for somebody to have to come get you, you have to reach out to them and ask them to come get you or something like that. So therefore, what time was it when Katie made whatever call it was and or shot whatever text message it was for somebody to come get her? You also have to think about, was it Katie's scheduled day to leave the island, and or did Katie leave the island before her vacation was planned to end? And if Nolan had refused to get on that boat, what's the one thing that would stop a young man that's 18 years old, Nolan Wells, from getting on that boat? A young lady, right? Even the thought and the feeling of wanting to hang out with a young lady even more would have you separate from your friends. Am I wrong? Even the thought of being able to hang out with a young lady even more would have your thought processes even have you to do what? Separate from your phone. What's the one detail that happened here? He was separated from his phone. And why would 18-year-old Nolan Wells be separated from his phone? Because something else was more important than 18-year-old Nolan Wells. In my opinion, 18-year-old Nolan Wells wanted to hang out with Katie even more, so therefore, 18-year-old Nolan Wells probably did part from his friends out there on that island. If it's said that 18-year-old Nolan Wells allegedly has bruises on his body, that would mean that something physical harm had to have happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells, and if those boys was any way near responsible for that, what would encourage them to bring his phone all the way back to the States? Or all the way back from the island? Wouldn't you think that those boys would have had plenty of chances and opportunities to be able to ditch that phone, especially in all of that body of water? Those boys probably felt bad and guilty that they did leave 18-year-old Nolan Wells. They probably felt bad about that, and they probably felt guilty, and that's probably why they reacted and acted the way that they did. But I truly feel like the answers lie in Katie, and that's just my personal opinion in this. My personal opinion, I feel like the answer lies in Katie, to follow Katie and to find out everything about Katie and details surrounding Katie, and I feel like that's where they're going to find the answer.
18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells went missing after a 4th of July trip to Horn Island in Mississippi. And today his family have confirmed the devastating news that his body was found and he passed away. Our heart goes out to his loved ones because no parent should ever have to experience this. He was on a trip with a group of white friends. I find it odd that everyone came back without him. Instead of staying on the island to look for him or wait until he was found, especially with that many people on the trip. Personally, I find that negligent and irresponsible. Everyone should always stick together during trips because it's the right thing to do. It helps ensure that everyone makes it back home safely to their loved ones. I don't feel comfortable with people blaming him or his parents, but instead we need to keep a close eye on the people he was with, especially when his parents entrusted them with his safety. My heart truly breaks for his family. I hate that Nolan believed he was among friends. I hate thinking at some point he may have realized something was wrong, and I hate that he died alone. Roughly 40% of missing persons in the US are reportedly Black or African American, despite Black people making up 13% of the population. Because of that disparity, it's completely understandable when people express concerns and urgency when a Black person goes missing. We've seen far too many cases over the years, and especially recently, where Black people disappear and are found in tragic circumstances. I truly hope Nolan's family gets the answers they deserve. Rest in power, Nolan. Justice for Nolan Xavier Wells.
The body of 18-year-old Black teen Nolan Xavier Wells has been found. His white friends who were with him on the trip have already hired lawyers. Wells vanished July 4 during a 4th of July boat outing to Horn Island, Mississippi, about 10 miles off the Gulf Coast. A park ranger found him in the water near the northwest end on July 6th. His phone was not with him. It was in his father's possession. The island has no cell coverage and is only accessible by private boat. Search teams, including the Cajun Navy, scoured land and sea since his disappearance. Authorities have not said how many people were on the boat or who made the missing person report. But online video suggests a possible altercation before the friends left Wells behind. One friend is the child of a judge, and all of them quickly retained lawyers. Wells was reportedly heading to meet a girl, but instead his friends took another boat and departed without him. Why did his phone return, but he did not? Why the immediate legal protection? The family and activists are furious, comparing this to other cases where Black victims' deaths were dismissed as accidents. Officials are awaiting DNA confirmation, though the family says they have identified him. What do you think?
Black people, stop going on motherfucking vacation with these white folks. Your white friends call you, say, hey, bud, what's up? Hey, you ain't going on vacation? No. 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 Hell no. Because y'all keep going on them vacations, and they keep coming back home, and we can't find you. You got to tell them white people no right now. Not all of them, but some of them you got to tell them no. I can swim why I'm going out there in the ocean for.
Okay, guys. So far we've gathered that he was also expecting to see a friend who is a lady, and based on what we've heard so far, all the children, actually, all the other friends of Nolan have actually lawyered themselves up, and it's kind of suspicious. Like, everybody's finding it suspicious. Like, your friend goes missing and they're investigating his disappearance, and you just go lawyer up. And one of the lawyers that one of the kids got is the daughter of a judge. So I mean, it has to spark curiosity. So different people are giving their own 2 cents on the issues, and I would like to know what you think in the comment section. Please don't forget to give your views on the subject, and may his soul rest in peace. And I pray comfort comes to his family, his mom. It's a very, very, a very disheartening thing to happen, and I pray they get the fortitude to bear the loss. So please, if you like the stories on this channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, to support us, leave comments, and we'll see you on the next topic. Bye for now.